think the mic is on. I'm never sure. This is gonna be the equivalent of a bard recounting a legend. God, I hope so. I hope it's that cool. Okay. Well, now the music stopped, so this is awkward. Is it gonna start again? Yeah, it's going.
Hello, everybody.
It's very quiet. Hello! I'm really excited, but also, like I said, for some reason, weirdly nervous, and I don't know why. I think it's because this is something that's not personal, but, like, something we've been doing together for a long time, like our D&D group, and so actually, like, writing this out has been an endeavor for us, but we also haven't had a ton of time to do it recently, so I was trying to think of creative, fun stream ideas that we could do while we were super tired, and this was something we came up with. How long was it? What, a year and a half-ish? Almost 2 years?
Almost 2 years.
2 years would have been this. We started right at the end of 1L. Like,
yeah.
But it was over summer because we were online.
Right.
But that was before COVID, obviously.
So I think late May.
Late May?
Yeah.
So yeah, almost 2 years. Which is crazy. Also tell me if the music is too loud, because that's the reason why I still have my headphones on, and I'm gonna take them off so I can hear him talking to me. I will explain to you our process, then I'll read what we already have so that you're caught up, and then we will keep going until we get tired. That's the entire plan for today. So I hope people are excited. Oh wait, I didn't actually turn the stream on. There we go. I put the picture of Soleil that Noelle drew up so that we can have a nice visual aid. I decided not to include me typing because I thought that would be boring. So I guess we're good. Do I have to read all of this? I'm now freaking out.
You're good.
I'm now very scared. Oh, and I make the chat bigger so that I can see it. Okay. It seems very quiet to me, so I'm gonna turn it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna turn me up a little bit. So, I am sitting in front of the computer because I'm gonna be typing, and he is gonna be pacing. So hopefully, get far away.
Hello!
Get as far as you're gonna get. Is he still audible? Oh, are you gonna go all the way up? Are you gonna go all the way over there?
I'm gonna be walking around while I'm talking. Hopefully the volume doesn't,
This mic is really sensitive, so I'm hoping it's gonna be fine. Also, my chair is making so much noise, I need to not sit against the back of it. It's very loud. Okay. I'm gonna take off my headphones so I can stop yelling. That'll work. Oh, I'm so scared.
It's okay.
This was my idea.
Mm-hmm.
Why was this my idea? This is the worst idea I've ever had. This is gonna be a lot of talking for me. I don't know what's wrong. I really don't. This is not much different from any other, D&D stream where we sat together and talked, in theory.
Would you like me to start?
I don't know.
Would that make you more comfortable?
I have no idea.
Well.
This is not what the people came for.
In a cave of Alusa, July of the year 345 of Asenath Sunspire.
Oh, that is what that says.
Year 1143 after the Order. The campaign began.
I don't even think we knew that at the beginning of the campaign.
No.
You didn't tell us what year it was. It didn't matter until it did.
Yeah, it doesn't matter until it does, so... Our party begins with Soleil, a half-elf rogue of the Sunspire Tourists Guild, Tom Finn, the human knight fighter of Sunspire, Zigro Dunalba, called Ziggy by his friends, the Furbolg druid, Bridget, the white vampire warlock, and Surdrill.
Oh, wait, we didn't know she was a white vampire. Maybe we should have taken that out.
Whatever.
Whatever.
The Wood Elf Ranger. You were also accompanied by James the Dwarven Monk, who was there for a session.
For the record, Sudra wasn't there for much more than a session.
Zigbar. Close, but yes, it is absolutely disgusting. It's Zigrodunalb.
I'll type it. For people who need a visual aid. This
are
is why we
adventurers.
never called him that.
Yeah, everyone called him Ziggy. He picked a name that I think he just smashed his fist into a keyboard or something.
Is that right? No, that's not.
Our adventures begin with a contract to investigate the corrupted moss wolves leaving the shadows of the Mistvale.
Good funky name.
Oh.
I thought I was going out of the box with French.
Along the way, they made friends with a few disguised blue goblins examining firearm parts from Flamespear, a city to the south. After their investigation is complete, many of the party members parted ways, leaving only Ziggy, Tom, Soleil, and Bridget. Cedric McDonnell, not that Cedric.
Not that Cedric. A different Cedric.
A human noble visiting from the Queen's Hold, was here on shady business and had lost his Golden Council necklace. He hired the party to retrieve it. Upon a brief interaction with some halfling gangsters in a drow dance club, the party retrieved the Golden Council amulet and decided to keep it for themselves instead.
Legitimately, I remember being kind of pissed off at Sawyer during this session.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is my thing. We're going to the guild. I've got this. And he's like, I have a contact. And I'm like...
It was, I introduced the rule of I know a guy, and he immediately used it, and I loved it.
And I was like...
fantastic.
I was like, I didn't even need to do I know a guy. I live here. I was ready.
Got to make up an Australian DJ.
Is he Australian?
All drow are Australian. It's the default accent for drow, because they're from down under fell.
I hate you.
They're from the down under dark. So.
That's gonna be relevant later.
Would you like to continue from where I left off?
I can do it.
We can switch
How do
off.
I pronounce his last name again? Amenkasef?
Amenkasef, yes.
He's not important. not yet. The Golden Council amulet put the party in contact with Arturius Amenkasef, a posh drow and member of the Shady Guild, the Golden Council. He paid the party a hefty sum to slay a corrupt clergyman of the Nefriti Church. After poisoning his guards, I can't believe we wrote, and ganking his ass, he exploded. Which all of that is very true and accurate to what actually happened. The party got a second contract from Arturius to infiltrate a gala at Sunspire Castle and steal a dress made of white dragon scales. After a shenanigans-filled heist involving dating models, that was me, and befriending caterers, that was not me, the party managed to steal the dress without seriously injuring anyone, leaving the model with a bonk on the head, that was me, the same one I was dating, and Emperor Sunspire to clean up their mess. The dress was delivered to the Adventurers Guild to a Mr. Horace Wraith, a vampire previously seen chatting with Emperor Sunspire. Wraith I don't know why I just read that as invited the party, most pointedly Bridget, to his home in Etnox, a small town located south of Ravenhold within the Mistvale, which is like, what?
A giant cursed forest.
Did love bloom? No. Was the model the wizard I tried to charm? No. That's much later. Don't worry, we'll get there. Within the Mistvale, he gifted the party a magical map that allowed them to travel through the cursed fog unharmed. Before leaving Sunspire, the party decided to invest their earnings in some prime real estate, because we had a lot of money by that point, and it was weird. They purchased a rundown tavern, spruced it up, and renamed it the Huckleberry Inn, after Tom's father, Huckleberry Finn. I hate him. The party hired several dwarves and left Tom's dragonborn assistant Harry in charge of managing the bar. Soleil did her part by bribing her friends in the Thieves Guild into bad-mouthing all other nearby bars and putting a moratorium on theft from the Huckleberry Inn. The party also used a friendly contact to import some exotic wine. The bar immediately started flourishing. We were awesome, until it all goes south later. Upon arrival to Etnox, they found a small village cloaked in eternal night under a dome of protective magic. Weirdly, all of the townsfolk were attractive. The party met with Lord Wraith and his 8 other children. There's no other here yet. Just be 8 children. He formally introduced himself as Bridget's father, and each of his children made their acquaintance. His eldest daughters, Denise and Patricia, were both clerics of the Almighty and quite friendly. His eldest son, Cedric, yes, that Cedric, was a sassy, prideful bookworm and a powerful wizard and cartographer. A brief interaction with Soleil concerning a library and directions to some children's books made his attempted pass at her go rather poorly. I didn't even know it was a pass at the time, so that's how poorly it went. Abigail was an adventurer, a ranger of experience, and a rider of a direwolf. Maria was an alchemist and draconic sorcerer who quickly took a liking to Tom for some reason. Isaac was a friendly but shy novelist and romantic who tried to hit on Soleil and was also shot down. I was mean. Alyssa was an outgoing fashionista who was very artistic but also very easy to anger. And finally, Madrigal, the youngest, was a psionic prodigy. I can't pronounce that word either. Who was I listening to who couldn't pronounce that word? A very edgy teenager.
Prodigy?
Yes. Was it Aaron from Game Grumps?
Oh,
when they
yes.
were doing
Yes.
Danganronpa. At a party at Etnox, Lord Wraith explained that his family... How much romance is in this story? There's a lot later. We have to get through the... Unfortunately, not a lot at the beginning.
Yeah, they didn't date in the campaign until like 2/3 of the way through it. So it was,
This is before the D&D channel, and you just posted it wherever. Yes, because I needed to scream.
Yes, this was a while before she made the D&D channel.
This was like... I think this was before school started, still.
Yeah.
Like, last summer. Okay. At a party at Etnox, Lord Wraith explained that his family had been cursed. As a result, their ordinarily benign emotion magic had become poisonous to those they were intimate with. He warned Bridget to maintain composure and gifted her a necklace to help her control her powers. Ziggy also chose this point to leave the party and continue his research up north, so then we dropped to 3. This was because the player was in London.
Yes, and time differences made play.
But for some reason, we still kept it in the mornings.
Yep.
Because we hated ourselves. Meanwhile, and equally as relevant, I would say more relevant, during the party, Soleil rappelled down the outside of the castle into Cedric's unlocked window on the 5th floor, while being observed by one of the servants. You made me include that part. Mm-hmm. Once inside, Soleil deftly messied his room by scattering children's books as revenge for a perceived slight, and swiped a hidden spellbook from inside his desk as a prize. Upon returning to her guest quarters, she found him waiting for her, which was super annoying and upsetting. With a muttered curse, Soleil shoved the spellbook into his hands, and he exited the room confused. I'll leave off the last part for your dignity. Abigail then invited the party to assist her on a hunting expedition on behalf of the Guardian of Mistvale, Antonius Blake. Upon arriving, they found the city... Wait, I lost... Putting rogues in the best light. I disagree. I'm putting rogues in the best light. This is what I was meant to do.
Rogues aren't supposed to be in
Listen,
any light.
he was very prepared for me not to be able to do that because I have, like, no strength, and he wasn't letting me make acrobatics checks to climb down a wall.
She wanted to... No, that's not how it happened. He wanted to climb up to his...
Oh, that's right, I did. And he was like, you can't.
I made you roll a luck check, and I'm like, cool, yeah, you can definitely throw a grappling hook up there. You'll have to make a DC 5 athletics check, which you refused to do.
I had a -1. I couldn't risk that blowing up in my face.
Instead, preferring to grapple down 4 flights of...
Hey, it was cooler.
A 4-story difference. Going down unless you use acrobatics and a much higher DC.
I thought I was gonna fail and that I was only gonna have one shot at this. But then I rolled super high on everything else, so it was great. It was awesome.
It went off without a hitch.
And until he showed up in my room. That part was less awesome. Upon arriving, they found the city completely empty, save for the Guardian, who had been using magic to keep himself awake for the past several months. He explained that some dark influence had reached past the magical border he had set up around his city and had stolen his townsfolk away in the night. Antonia suspected his father, Ebenezer Caliban, the Archlich, but the party suspected something more unnatural. After saddling up and doing a good bit of tracking, I remember we left out the part where I almost got kidnapped.
When did you almost get kidnapped?
Not kidnapped, but when we stayed in town. That we stayed in the town to try and figure out what was happening. We all went to bed and we tied ourselves to our bedpost, and I failed the wisdom save and then succeeded the acrobatics check.
I forgot that. That is
it's
very
kind
fun.
of it's very fun.
I'd love to include.
I remembered that.
Okay,
where are we putting that? Let's see. It's right here.
Right.
Because I failed a wisdom save. That's gonna be.
The party decided to stay the night.
This is, oh, by the way, this is how the system works. He talks, I write.
Yes, and she does obviously let me know when I'm saying nonsense. The party decided to stay the night in order to further investigate.
Is this whole story gonna be posted somewhere later? Probably. I could. We're just doing it in a Google Doc for right now, but once it's gonna be a long time before it's done. Like, we're still in Act 1 of at least 5 or 6.
But yes, eventually.
Eventually we will post it somewhere.
In order to further investigate.
Investigate.
For safety, the party decided to sleep in separate but nearby rooms. Tying themselves to their beds.
In retrospect, I don't know how we thought this was gonna work.
Come night, Soleil found herself possessed by an ethereal force.
As will happen multiple times during the campaign.
And walking out of the city.
Tom, like, fucking scooped me.
Yeah, thankfully, Tom mounted up incredibly quickly and managed to tackle her
with a horse
before she could walk into the deadly mists.
I can't believe that was like the worst day for me. Was that the same day as the zombie fight? It might have been.
No, you then finished your
Sounds like fun. It was annoying because I failed, and then you were like, oh, well, and we were like, oh, we're tied up. You were like, make an acrobatics check, and I was like, I'm good at that.
Yeah. Everyone made an athletics check.
I'm pretty sure I rolled like a 4 on the wisdom save, and then I rolled like a 27 on the acrobatics check, and I was like, I'm gone. I'm leaving, I guess.
It's the best.
See you later. Okay, I think that's good. Okay.
And then the party finished their rest, but slept fitfully. And then we go to the next
part. After saddling up and doing a good bit of tracking, the party found a horde of undead, led by an enormous creature called a rawhead. During the fight, Tom was blessed by Nefertiti, who's, I guess, should have mentioned for your guys' reference earlier, is one of the gods of this world.
I guess you could Nefertiti, the goddess of fire and strength. For his courage in combat and spontaneously created a magical flaming glaive, which I completely forgot about until we started writing this. The party found the temporarily stasis form of Antonius's daughter, Ambra Blake, an artificer of substantial skill. She thanked the party and when we saved her ass. She thanked the party and informed them that the cursed mist of Mistvale had birthed zombie-creating plant life. Sounds like a mix between Nefertiti and Ifrit. That's probably what it is. Yes, I am. Yes, it is. It is just this exactly.
Nefertiti, I can read. That's how you pronounce that person's name. And informed them. Zombie creating had birthed zombie creating plant life. These musk creepers, as she called them, use spores to control the living and vines to puppet the dead. Additionally, animal life nearby was similarly affected, and the party had another run-in with the corrupted moss wolves they had seen much earlier. Finally, the party came face to face with a druid cultist who called herself a member of the Spores of Miasmerus, the demon lord of Rot, which is a plot. We never followed up on any of that, by the way.
No, you just killed them all and moved on.
After a tussle with her zombies, musk creepers, and finally the druid herself, the party walked away with several magical items and all of Mistvale in tow. One such magical item was a gray stone mask that allowed the wearer to see through fog. Tom rudely yoinked the item from Soleil's rightful possession, much to her annoyance. Upon wearing the mask, several stone spikes stabbed themselves into his head as the mask burrowed its way under his skin. Soleil was much cooler with him stealing it after that happened.
If any of you have seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's that mask.
Well, we'll get there.
just for visual reference,
I'm sensing some lingering hostility. There's a lot.
Soleil and Tom were party members for a while, and they weren't friends.
We weren't friends. We were business associates.
Yeah,
it was not author's prejudice. That's actually what happened. I beat the druid. I got the killing blow.
So yeah, the concept that anyone owns loot from a particular
is
fight
not
is
accurate.
by itself absurd.
Yeah, it's true. But I was still holding it, going like, "What is this?" And he was like, "I'm gonna take it," and I'm like, I didn't even see what it was, man. Like,
to be fair, you were talking about this is probably cursed, right?
I literally think I said that aloud.
And then he had the balls to put it on. So.
Which was a move. Don't worry, it'll come back to bite his ass later. With the civilians safely returned, the party assisted Antonius in evacuating Mistvale in the face of growing danger and the cursed fog. They traveled north to Ravenhold, and with the help of Bridget's mother, a member of the Ravenhold Council, the refugees were safely accepted. While returning to Sunspire, the party noticed the goblin attacks were becoming more rampant along the roads. Once back in the Adventurers Guild, Tom received a message from Quartermaster Captain Arnold Dervish. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, find and defeat the Goblin King. You will have a squad of 10 legionnaires at your disposal. The party loaded up a wagon and with some clever disguises made themselves appear as hobgoblin reinforcements. Once arriving at the goblin war camp, they found a monumental army amassed. The goblins had wargs, mages, several wyverns, and even a sedated troll. Hopefully this won't turn into Goblin Slayer. Oh, it will.
No, it actually didn't.
It didn't, that's true. Except for all of the mooks that we may have killed.
You killed actually very little enemies. Every combat encounter on the way to the boss fight was expertly avoided. You were very diplomatic.
Well, okay, I'm getting to that. The party diplomatically deceived their way past all of the encounters because I'm pretty sure I was in front. Just saying. Finding themselves outside the Goblin King's tent. Upon arrival, the unit of ogres assigned to guard duty was waved off by a goblin mage wearing a robe adorned with the map of a cob. The goblin mage addressed the party, beckoning them to enter the tent. The party then faced off with the Goblin King, in quotation marks, a fat, powerful idiot. He was reinforced by his mage assistant and several goblins manning a beautiful golden ballista. After a brutal several hits, Tom found himself on death's door. When the final blow was struck by the king, Tom awoke within the boneyard. Stop me if you need to explain any of the rest of this.
Sure. Tom awoke in the boneyard, the plane of judgment, I guess you could clarify it there. The boneyard is where souls go after they die. Once you're there, you are judged by a series of outsiders and elders who figure out where you're supposed to go, and they send you off.
Was he fully killed?
He was fully
killed, right?
Fully killed,
yeah.
coup de grace twice.
He was coup de grace twice, so he was fully dead at this point. And I was like, well, guess I'll just die. Several masked crows chirped at him atop gravestones, and from the shadows approached Necros, the god of death. Necros offered Tom a new lease on life, one of eternal servitude, should he wish to take it. Tom happily accepted, and upon awakening was reborn as a black vampire, crusaders against undeath. With his newfound power, Tom and the party slew King. The goblins routed, and the mage teleported outside. The party took a moment to revel in their victory, only to be greeted by 6 goblin sorcerers and a slow clap from outside, which was the most frustrating thing that ever happened. It was so annoying when we were all like, we did it, and then you just started slow clapping. Entering the tent was the mage, who revealed himself as Macaulika, meaning the mastermind, or Big Smart if you're being literal. Macaulika set the kill contract in Sunspire himself, wanting King to be a martyr and a banner to rally behind. With the party exhausted, Macaulika offered a truce. Leave now, and the contract would be complete. Additionally, the Goblin army would leave Sunspire, traveling south to greener pastures. With gritted teeth, the party agreed, but not without 2 conditions. First, they would take the Goblin Prodigal Ballista as a trophy. Second, they would be given a wyvern to serve as Tom's mount and Soleil's reliable source of wyvern poison.
Necros is like the biggest Grim Reaper. He's the god of death and one of the 2 gods that rules over the underworld. Him and his wife, who is the Maiden of Bones, are the 2 gods of the underworld. She mostly deals with souls and the afterlife. She's like the final arbiter, big judge who figures out where souls are supposed to go, determines where gods and kings, when they die, what afterlife they deserve to.
Is he a nice dude?
Both of them, alignment-wise, are true neutral, both very involved with what they do. She is much more involved in the afterlife and eternal life. He's much more involved in death and those people who deserve to die by corrupting sort of the life cycle. Both of them dislike undead, that mess with like mortals and their souls. The Maiden of Bones very much hates all sorts of undead, while Necros actually creates sentient undead that fight other undead. So he's more of a fight fire with fire, while his wife wholeheartedly disagrees with that and would much rather be entirely racist.
Okay. Got the Wyvern. After a brief chat with the Wyvern and a bit of confusion, the party dubbed him Daze, because we thought that was his name. With their new friend in tow and carefully redisguising themselves, they hightailed it out of the camp and strapped the ballista to the top of their carriage, dubbing it the Murder Wagon. We loved the Murder Wagon. We loved, in past tense, I suppose, the Murder Wagon. Upon returning home, several rows of carriages without horses pulled up to the Adventurers Guild. Sunspirian royal guards stepped out and invited Tom inside. Within were Fortissimo Cornelia and Schneisel Sunspire, red and blue dragons in their humanoid forms, respectively. Cornelia was thoroughly an impatient royal bitch, while Schneisel was a polite and well-spoken gentleman. After Tom explained the details of their recent escapade, he was offered 500 platinum and a promotion to Centurion. Did he share that platinum? Because I don't remember.
I don't know if he did.
I feel
also,
like he didn't, and I was pissed.
Fortissimo was their rank, not like a third person in the room.
Oh, yes.
Fortissimo in Latin means strong. So.
How do you spell it? With a K.
With a K, yeah. You have it perfect with the second spelling.
Tom was contacted by the psychopomps of the Boneyard, which were those little masked crows. He was given the choice of 3 quests: purify an underground graveyard corrupted by undead, purge a mountain town infested by ghouls, and defeat a red vampire spawn currently located in Sunspire. Tom wanted to test out his new undead hunting powers and fulfill one of the psychopomps' contracts. After some investigating and a tip from Carrie, the spy master of the Taurus Guild and a friend of Soleil's, the party hunted down Leo De Luca, a vampire spawn of Rio Brando smuggling vampiric mists. After a bitter combat and a brutal Circle of Death scroll that I'm pretty sure pretty much everyone went down on.
I rolled almost max damage on a Circle of Death scroll while they were like level 6, so it was awesome.
The party emerged victorious. Tom consumed the bottled vampiric mist because he does that, and felt himself growing stronger. The party was then hired by the Golden Council to tie up a loose end and kill Cedric McDonald. Not that Cedric.
Yeah.
First Cedric. Already vampire slaying. Well, you know. On their way to find the snake, the party encountered an anti-party of drow siblings who called themselves the Hitmen. The Hitmen were hired by McDonald to beat the daylights out of the party. Tom must have rolled low on IQ. He wasn't the smartest ever. I'm pretty sure.
Intelligence was
I think that was his dump stat. It was very sad. After a brief parley headed by the Hitman Paladin, they came to an agreement to betray McDonald, resulting in the Hitman getting paid and the party getting his head. Meanwhile, the Huckleberry Inn had run into some inventory difficulties. God, really? I forget that's now, even though we decided we had to figure out where it went. Half a dozen of the finest bottles of wine in the cellar had gone missing.
Oh no, where could they be?
Shut up. After some intense interrogation of the dwarven workers resulted in no leads, the leader of the dwarves offered to ferret out the ne'er-do-well in exchange for a raise. The party happily accepted and returned to Etanox for the next assignment. Next, the party was invited by the Golden Council to become full-fledged members. The party was run through a gauntlet of deadly monster encounters, traps, and puzzles.
Don't worry, following, it will be resolved. It was.
Don't worry, it will be.
Framed.
It will be resolved. When is it resolved, though? That's the problem.
A little later.
Did we already write it? I don't think we did.
I don't know if we even wrote it yet. It gets
resolved. It would be in Sawyer's journal.
Yeah, it gets resolved later. But just
later.
But just to let you, I could let you know now. Cedric, they were having a prank war. Cedric, the one that she is not yet dating,
but will be.
And as his prank, he decided to just move some of the wine bottles
stole
from the cellar into her room. He put it in her top drawer next to her bed, and just put it there as a prank to make it look like she was a drunkard. She then never stayed in that room
because I had another place,
which he was not aware of, and so the bottles essentially were not found for several months.
Yeah, so asshole. Basically.
But when the dwarf eventually did find it, there was some confetti and fanfare. And a note.
He set up a glitter trap.
It was a glitter bomb trap as part of the prank. But you may continue.
So angry still about that.
Sure. The other Cedric is fully dead.
He's
so
fully
you don't
dead.
have to worry
He
about
doesn't
it.
matter.
That
Forget
other
about
Cedric
him.
Was with an S. He was an old man and a douchebag. That guy's dead.
We
The
killed
new
him.
One is also an old man douchebag, but much hotter.
That's true. He is an old man. It's a problem. During this dungeon crawl, the party was introduced to a white dragonborn named Liv, a bitter veteran from the Whitehaven military. Liv was rude but forthcoming with her opinions. The party accompanied her throughout the rest of the dungeon and acquired some powerful magical swag along the way. Notably, Liv got a Frostbrand greatsword, and the party acquired the Tome of the Stilled Tongue, a strange, creepy black book. Eventually, the party found themselves at the final test to defeat Emeruk the Reversed, a mad lich who could only be harmed through healing magic, and his brother Bordevac, a death knight of incredible power. As initiative was rolled, Liv doffed her armor and grew to gargantuan size, revealing herself as a true-blooded white dragon and the freshly resurrected ex-queen of Whitehaven, Olivia Vexeltodd. I feel like we should stop here and explain what happened.
So Olivia Vexeltodd was the big bad of the previous campaign we played with her law friends. That one went for a little less than a year, maybe only about half a year.
Probably about, half a year.
Where the party was like, let's kill this evil queen. And that's what they decided.
And that was the
quest
campaign.
Was. So that was the campaign. They leveled up, fought through a bunch of soldiers, went through, lots of subterfuge, killed demons, all sorts of fun stuff, and eventually it did end with them breaking into her palace and assassinating Olivia Vexeltodd with the help of her mother, which she locked away in a mountain. The party knew very little about Olivia Vexeltodd and her whole deal, other than that she was an evil queen. That was the public perception of her anyway. So they decided to go kill her, and they succeeded. Skip 2 or 3 years into the future, that's this campaign, and suddenly there's this new white dragonborn, who apparently is Olivia Vexeltodd, newly not dead. You may continue.
The best part was me and the guy who played Tom were pretty heavily involved in that last party, and we had no idea.
Oh, absolutely not.
Not until she hulked out during that final fight.
Wonderful. Where I remember everyone was getting more and more unnerved. When it's like, oh, I'm Liv. I'm from Whitehaven. I have the Whitehaven armor. I don't like talking about my family.
my past.
Or my past.
We were like, we get it. It's
like,
cool.
Yeah, why are you here? I don't want to be here, but I have to do this thing. And then when you killed a couple monsters, she did the same thing that her mother did whenever somebody was nearby.
We didn't even realize it then, which is the sad part.
Which she unhinges her jaw and essentially absorbs the life energy out of like a dying body. She did that in order to heal herself. And the party was like, oh, that's super weird. Is that common? And I was like, you've never seen that before.
And we were like, well, our characters are dumb.
Yeah, our characters are stupid, so we don't know what's going on.
And then she hulked out in that last fight, and I remember I was sitting across from Sawyer, and we both just like looked at each other, and our eyes were huge.
Yes, she was in this campaign a friendly NPC who helped.
She was our friend, our best friend.
She was a great friend, super helpful, and a paladin, which is very nice because it helps you with saving throws. Everyone likes to be around a paladin. Previous campaign, she was the bad guy who was murdered and assassinated.
It was wild. That was a day.
This whole campaign, she's a friendly NPC.
Yeah, no, she's cool now. We're friends. It's awesome. Okay, after a long combat filled with heroic guitar riffs from the audience, several thousand flaming swords raining down from the sky, and one enormous... Wow, my voice just is already going. Surprise flesh golem, the party emerged bloody and swollen with pride as full-fledged descendants of the Golden Council. They were privy to all sorts of new jobs and knowledge, but people die if they are killed.
Yes, but people don't die if they are resurrected.
It's true.
That's the rule.
Upon being asked the name of their party, they hesitantly answered the Dawn, and boy, did the name stick. It's what we decided.
It's what you decided.
And that's when we decided that happened, because honestly, no one is sure.
Yeah. At some point, you decided.
At some point, we decided to call ourselves the Dawn, and
that makes sense for a time to do it.
I'm saying that was what happened. Olivia was assigned to cleanse Mistvale of its undead in order to pay off her debt to the council.
because she owed him like a $10,000 diamond for being
resurrected. Upon returning to Sunspire, Tom and Soleil, however, were stumped as Bridget said her goodbyes. What should they do next? Cue me and Tom having a bunch of stupid bullshit.
This was honestly a very fun part of the campaign where they just
I had
sat
so
around.
much fun.
And as a DM, I will throw hooks at people when they actively want them. But this campaign was sort of opened with the idea of, let's come up with the quests, us individually. And so they were just sitting there like, what should we do? And they did some fun stuff next. An Earthbound reference to the diamond. No, so,
That's a D&D thing.
Earthbound might actually be referencing D&D when it talks about maybe like a diamond used for resurrection, but in D&D, a resurrection spell costs a diamond as a material component, and that diamond is then consumed as part of the resurrection ritual. So, in order for her to be resurrected, essentially you have to pay money. You're taxed for resurrecting friends.
So at this point, the party is just me and Tom.
Is two people.
Two people.
Big two people.
It was awesome.
However, they did hire...
It was 3 right up until that point.
Yes.
Because Bridget was still there.
Upon dropping to 2 members, the party hires 2 NPCs to make sure they didn't die. Right now, the party was a fighter and a rogue.
And a rogue. We were going to die.
With 0 magical abilities. So instead, they decided to hire the two of the older Wraith children. They hired Maria Wraith, who was a sorcerer, and Denise Wraith, who was a cleric. So that rounded
we had
out
friends.
the party into a very balanced,
I don't think we had done that yet, though. I think we did that after this.
Yes, I think you did it with the, next paragraph.
I was thinking she was literally in debt. Well, she might be.
Ah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. I remember what you're referencing now. Tom investigated the Tome of the Stilled Tongue and learned a great deal of information about liches. Notably, liches each have a particular weakness concerning the construction of their phylactery. However, going after Caliban the Archlich still posed a threat too great. He wanted to do that, and I was like, we will die!
Yeah, let's go after an Archlich, the 2 of us at level 7.
I didn't expect Soleil to be the voice of reason of any party, but she turned out to be the only voice of reason of every party.
It very much was a fun thing of like, we can take them.
I'm like, we can't.
No.
Alright, let's build a castle, Tom decided for the 2 of them. The party went to Sunspire's real estate developers, who informed them that a castle would cost tens of thousands of gold and a little more than a year to build. Unwilling to wait that long, the Dawn discovered that a famous musician was touring near Flamespear. In her possession was a lyre of building, an artifact capable of constructing their castle in less than a week. They also learned that Flamespear's guardian, Daniel Zuko, renowned evoker, had been overthrown by Macaglica the Mastermind. I just always forget that his name is Daniel.
Well,
Daniel Zuko,
Daniel
yeah.
Zuko is a reference
I know,
to
but that's
musical.
that's what I just forget. We have all these fantasy names, and then Daniel Zuko.
Yeah, Daniel Zuko.
You know it's bad when the rogue is the voice of reason. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, the guy who played Tom, he was lawful evil. And he straight up told me that when it was just the 2 of us, he was trying to turn this into an evil party. And I was pretty much there.
It was there. This was an evil party at this point. You were going around just like, alright, let's just...
We robbed people. It was awesome.
Rob people, kill people, do whatever we want.
It was so cool. Next, the Dawn decided to pursue the second Psychopomp contract and purge the Sunspire sewers of undead.
You did have the 2 wraiths with you.
We did have the 2 wraiths with at that point, yes, because we definitely were like, we're not doing anything with undead without a cleric. With Carrie's help, the party located a magically constructed, rapidly flowing moat that had been placed there by a mysterious cult several years ago. This moat had been burrowing its way through the levels of the Sunspire sewers, collapsing as... this is the first time we use this word, as their Arcesian graveyard, and disturbing the souls that rested there. While the cult was... Is there really such a thing as a lawful rogue? No, I wasn't lawful. I was chaotic as hell.
Yeah, she was on the chaotic axis, he was on the lawful axis.
Yeah, and we were both moving back and forth, I think.
We were moving down.
Actually, he was pretty solidly lawful evil the entire time. I was moving around all over the place. I started as neutral, I leaned toward evil, and I definitely ended the campaign at chaotic good. So, that happened. While the cult was long gone, the religious iconography around the graveyard was extremely troubling to both Denise and Carrie, and after slaying the ghosts that remained restless, I definitely got possessed in that fight. The Dawn used several boxes of dynamite to blow the runes to smithereens. After robbing a few more people, Tom and Soleil found they were bored again.
Do we want to add in that for this quest you decided to hire the
Yeah, we
two
probably should put
sisters?
it in there.
Yeah. The party, feeling understaffed, decided to temporarily hire Denise Wraith, a cleric of the Almighty.
Well, we did put what they were, but I'll put it.
Or Denise Wraith, a life cleric of the Almighty.
Cleric of the Almighty.
And Maria Wraith.
And Maria, Tom's girlfriend at that point, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, Tom's girlfriend and the Draconic Sorcerer.
For some reason, I kept trying to tell her to break up with him. Pretty sure.
She likes strong men. She has poor taste in men. It's okay to have flaws.
Brothers like those, I don't blame her. After robbing a few people, Tom and Soleil found they were bored again. Let's kill a dragon, Tom offered, and so the Dawn sought a dragon to murder. Tom's research turned up 2 leads, an undead Dracolich named the Red White, who was the current guardian of Lorentz, and a black dragon being worshipped by a tribe of lizard folk. Thinking that a guardian was just outside their reach, the party traveled north toward Brock's war camp and the lizard folk village. Along the way, the Dawn offered... I can't believe we completely forgot about this fight. Red White of Blue Corp, yeah, that's definitely it.
That's definitely it.
No,
I did come up with that name before I knew about Red, White, and Phoenix Wright.
But now you're gonna change it.
But it's a great name. No, like, I liked the idea. It's a red and then W-I-G-H-T.
Yeah.
I later thought of the idea that that creature would be a dragon. Because it's like a red dragon that got turned into a white.
Along the way, the Dawn encountered the Screamers of... What, did I spell this wrong?
Screamers
Did I skip a letter? Is it Grimace?
No, it is Groosh.
Oh, because that's his name. We had this
Groosh.
discussion. The Screamers of Groosh, an orcish war cult that served Chief Grok. Tom got the shit kicked out of him by their leader. Absolutely bodied.
This guy, I think, rolled like 3
It was
crits,
amazing.
in a fist fight, which was fantastic.
And Gramash, and Soleil was forced to surrender, or Gramash would take Tom's life. She wasn't happy about it. After a moment of negotiation, Gramash agreed to be taken as a prisoner of war back to Castle Sunspire. The party delivered him for a hefty sum, and he was recruited by Sunspire's military immediately. The Dawn then headed out once more towards the lair of Koryak, the Black Dragon. I was like, did we really go there, go back, and then go there again? Yes,
you absolutely did, because Tom needed medical attention. So
he did. He was going to die.
It was just, let's go kill a dragon.
I was you're a pussy.
We rolled
Let's go.
very high on the encounter table. Let's go home and then go kill a dragon again.
Upon arriving at the lizard folk village, Soleil quietly snuck through the canopy while Tom trekked through the forest with his soldiers. Along the way, Tom ate some magical tree sap that turned him bright orange and made him smell like citrus.
Oh yeah, he was an orange boy from then on for the rest of his existence. I loved it.
After laughing at him for a while, Soleil took some of the sap in a vial for her own later nefarious use. Upon arriving at the lizard folk village, the Dawn saw that further stealth while accompanied by soldiers would be nearly impossible. I don't understand how stealth while accompanied by soldiers was possible up to that point. I don't think we were really stealthing.
You weren't really stealthing, you just got to a super heavily populated area, so you decided
we gotta stop.
We don't want to have to fight a whole town.
The soldiers remained behind for backup, and Tom took to the skies on days. While passing by, the party observed that several of the lizard folk appeared to be sick, covered with black growths on their skin. After stealthing past the village, they came to a pool of acid and mud under an enormous dead tree. Chained in front of the pool was an unconscious adult phoenix, not Phoenix Wright. Several lizard folk cultists carved complex runes into the soft earth. Was the phoenix played by the Pikachu in the fight? It was a stuffed Pikachu.
We had a battle map. We had the black dragon was a big old toothless plushie, while the phoenix was a Pikachu. Because I did not have anything better suited.
Blah blah blah. Looking over the ceremony was a huge wooden statue of a skeletal dragon covered with gold and gemstones. While Soleil watched from a treetop and days flew overhead, the party was struck with a cosmic dread that froze them in their places. They watched with frozen fear as the statue came to life in the form of a gold ravener, an incredibly powerful undead monster. The black dragon rose from its pool and addressed the ravener, speaking deferentially. The Ravener instructed Koryak that should he complete the ritual laid before them, he would ascend and become a Dracolich. The Ravener then resumed its pose on its wooden pedestal and grew still once more. That was an awful moment.
It was so great because everyone except for Tom was just frozen with fear.
But he was flying on the track.
He was flying on a wyvern, so the wyvern just was coasting through the air above it while he was just looking down like, well, I can't do anything about the situation, so I'm just going to pretend to not exist. And yeah, everyone was very afraid.
Sparing no time, the Dawn launched into their assault. The Lizardfolk clerics immediately saw the ritual to its near completion. However, some well-placed shots from Soleil and a few fireballs from Maria put an end to the Lizardfolk mages. Tom got to work freeing the Phoenix, and Denise and Maria laid into the Lizardfolk with a torrent of magic. After many shots, Soleil struck the final blow on the Black Dragon, standing atop its unconscious body, victorious. Or so she thought. I was very sad that day. Koryak, in a final feat of magical fortitude, gasped back to consciousness.
Rolled a nat 20 on his death save at just after he was knocked unconscious.
To be fair, I did not have enough actions to double tap him. And with his dying breath, reached toward the ritual circle. With a last desperate spark, the rune roared to life as the ritual was completed. The Phoenix was consumed in a flash of bright light as Koryak's flesh necrofied and rotted away, leaving the form of a newborn Dracolich. The Dawn re-engaged, down but not out. In a final push, Denise and Maria initiated a combo of magic, turning Soleil into a flying Triceratops, which was great. With a mighty charge, Soleil sent Koryak's skull flying, and the Dracolich was slain once more. As the party caught their breath, Tom witnessed Necros himself appear and destroy the sigil at the center of the ritual circle. Oh, this story! You remember this one! Only then did Tom realize that the sigil bore a striking resemblance to the glyphs found in the underground Xerxesian church. I think this might have been the time that I started the D&D thing, because I realized I was yelling too much, and I needed an outlet.
Needed an outlet.
Unfortunately, the Dawn could not properly loot the dragon's hoard, as it was far beneath a lake of acid. However, Tom was not discouraged by near certain death and dove headfirst into the bubbling mud. I didn't realize how much of a dumbass Tom was.
Fantastic. Before even resting, like, after a fight, he's just like, I'll just dive in. It can't be that deep.
And I was like, it can, but okay.
I rolled for how deep it was, and I'm like, alright, so you're swimming through mud, so you pretty much have no idea where you're going, and you just take an acid damage every time. And eventually he popped out with, I think, Tom was around for entertainment. He's definitely the comedic relief of this dour party of two. So he did pop out with, I believe, 1 health remaining.
He had 1 health.
And if he was not at 1 health, he would have just dissolved in acid like an idiot. So yeah, it was very good.
After some scrambled scrounging, Tom managed to return to the surface with nothing but a great sword of sharpness and some serious acid burns. The Dawn returned to Sunspire, seeking another cleric to assist with the moving of the acidic monk. And Soleil's the straight man, which again is something I did not anticipate when making her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't anticipate that she was going to be comedic relief, but I just kind of figured she would be there in a bigger party than 2 people with the idiot.
Comedic relief.
I'm pretty sure at that point you were playing Maria, also still, by the way, when he did that, and you were like, aren't you going to stop him? And I was like, absolutely not. I was secretly hoping Tom was going to die this entire campaign.
Yep.
I was here for it. That's since the beginning, too, because it would have made my life a lot easier. First, the party stopped by Carrie, informing him about Koryak and the Ravener in exchange for some information about Makaklica. In addition to this, Carrie told them that the ritual contained dark magic that was best left unmentioned. At the Adventurers Guild, the Dawn recruited 2 new friends. We had new friends! Mumford Steeltoe, a dwarven Damacurian cleric from Dark Mara, who sought to redeem himself through justice and virtue. Great. And his traveling companion Twitch, a kobold blood hunter who sought to rescue some kidnapped orphans. With their new friends, the party returned to Koryak's lair and made off with a hefty chunk of loot. Among the plundered baubles was a magically sealed box, bound with powerful abjuration and illusion magic. The Dawn returned to the Huckleberry Inn's wine cellar before opening it, so how were these NPCs created? These were not NPCs, these were actually new player characters.
Yes, so if you're talking about the Wraiths, those I did create, those are NPCs, but specifically the...
Mumford and Twitch had joined
Mumford and Twitch were both new PCs joining in. Mumford was played by the player who played Ziggy previously.
So this is the start of the second semester, actually.
Yes, he was returning from
London.
The other player was the one who played Twitch, was a previous player from our previous campaign who was just busy up until this point with school stuff.
Yeah, this was definitely, we were starting a new semester at this point. I forget if this was, like, right before Christmas, during Christmas break, or right after. Yeah. But I think this was after, because I remember this being in person.
I think this was right after Christmas, and we then became a party of 4.
Of 4, yeah. And blah, blah, blah. With a magically sealed box, the Dawn returned to the Huckleberry Inn's wine cellar before opening it. Twitch, I'm guessing he's an Amazon slave. Well... he goes through quite a lot of interesting character development.
He's a drug addict kobold who's a blood hunter, and just that was most of his character.
It was great. Fearing some magical fuckery. Their fears were confirmed when the box sprung open, spraying nearly all of the party, everyone except me, with acid that seemed to evaporate within seconds. A hastily cast detect magic from Mumford revealed that the evaporated acid had been whisked off far to the northeast. Inside the box was a letter to Koryak from Eva Vexeltod, Gold Ravener, and previous matriarch of Whitehaven. Included with the letter was a powerful hand crossbow and several arrows of black vampire slaying. Twitch called dibs on the hand crossbow immediately, and Tom smashed the arrows of slaying to bits, much to Soleil's chagrin. The Dawn... wow, it really makes me sound like I want to kill him, but that is true. My goal through the entire campaign was to have a method to deal with every party member that I had, and I didn't...
You wanted to be Batman.
I did.
Soleil's goal in this campaign was to have all of the money and be able to kill all of her friends. She very much was Batman.
And eventually, I probably reached that goal pretty early. I'm pretty sure I could have taken out everyone.
Except the whole I don't use guns thing went out the window almost immediately.
Yeah, not almost immediately. I didn't become a gunslinger until much later than this.
That's true.
I didn't have guns yet, I only had a bow. Much to Soleil's chagrin, the Dawn then went their separate ways for the evening, all passing into a restless slumber. And that's where we are now.
Yes, that is where we are, what we have written so far.
So now we're gonna do the process of, he looks through both his DM notes and the meticulous journals taken by Tom,
yes.
which he let us borrow, because I don't take notes.
So...
Are we ready to continue?
We are ready to continue.
This part's gonna be rough.
So...
This was one of the worst sessions.
This session was fantastic.
For you.
Yes. So for this purpose, we had a guest player who was playing Denise Wraith.
Batman without the morals. Yeah, that's basically.
Yeah. She.
And I think we had a guest player playing Maria as well. I think Hannah was there for that.
Yeah. Well, I think Hannah might have been playing Denise.
No, that was Bryn.
Oh, Bryn was playing Denise.
Yeah.
So we did have a guest playing both Denise, Maria, and a new party member that is going to show up as we are writing this. So we had a whole bunch of people come.
This was a huge session.
This was a 7-person session, I want to say. We had you, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 2. Yeah, 7
people.
7 people. It was a lot of fun. And it started with nightmares.
Who is going first?
Who's going first? Well, I have Soleil first. I had people roll for this. I had people roll a D8.
I was definitely last.
You were last. So, kind of wish I knew which order.
I think, if I remember correctly, I think Tom was definitely first.
Okay.
I don't remember any of the rest of the order. I'm pretty sure Tom was first and I was last because we thought that was funny.
You could say Tom opened his eyes to a vision of darkness. He saw himself on trial with his father, Huckleberry, presiding as a judge.
Oh, God. It's such a meme. Okay.
Tom was accused of high treason and the assassination of Euphemia Sunspire, youngest daughter of Emperor Sunspire. The crowd shouted for him to be executed as Emperor Sunspire, an enormous red dragon, towered over the presidents. Tom was sentenced to death and dishonorably discharged.
Sorry, that was as crazy as Dokapon.
I take that as a compliment. Is Dokapon Kingdom? Is that what he's referring to?
Yeah, I think so.
Great. The vision swirled, and he found himself standing above a tall cliff with his Psychopomp's mask in his hands.
Standing above or on?
Standing on a tall cliff, yeah.
Had he made the mask by that
He
point?
had made the mask.
Oh shit, we didn't write that in here. I don't remember when he made it. We're gonna have to check his notes.
Yeah.
He definitely has that.
Let's see.
Because for you, he had sunlight sensitivity, right? Until he made the mask.
Yeah, so he could not be out
In the
daylight,
daytime.
but they did have a magically enchanted umbrella that allowed him.
Yeah,
to
that we
walk
stole
around.
from the vampire spawn.
He very much had the normal vampire disintegrates in sunlight type vibe. Also, similar to vampires, if he is in running water, he would also die.
Which would be important for a few minutes.
Sweet.
I think it had to have been right after.
It might have been like...
I think because he had to do 2 out of 3 in order to get the mask.
Correct.
So it would have had to have been right after.
We can go
this
up
one.
to Lowe's Smithereens.
It's right here. Yeah.
You don't even have to page break. Tom then used the remnants of the ghost ectoplasm mixed with a feather given from one of his Psychopomp patrons to create the Psychopomp's mask.
What about wooden stakes, garlic, and crosses?
None of those. He was vulnerable to radiant damage, so crosses kind of applies, but not quite wood stakes.
To create this, just the cycle.
Yes, the Psychopomp's mask, a unique artifact that allowed him to exist safely in the daylight.
In the daylight.
And
not
gave him
die
a
like
bitchin'
bitch.
cowl. Sweet.
And not die like a bitch.
Yes, made it so he didn't die like a bitch. You, I remember, didn't mind moving around only at night, though.
Yeah, I was
so-
like, this is cool. This is fine with me. I'm whatever.
So sweet.
Okay, back to that. I just wanted to put that in there because he like drew pictures of it and everything in his journal. He was invested in the mask.
Yes. So darkness swirls below, mask in his hands. The mask slips away, tumbling into the darkness, and a voice called from the void. Condemning him to pay for his crimes. He then, saving throws aren't really a thing that's easy to translate.
He made it though. He didn't die.
He did make it.
So he didn't die like a bitch, but did he live like one? Absolutely.
Yes, so on a failed save, I could just read this for you guys, but on a failed save, he would have jumped into a river and been immediately taking acid damage like vampires do and be forced to swim to shore. He could have totally died. Instead, he caught himself. At the last moment, his eyes shot open to reveal that he was standing just above a rapidly rushing river. His Psychopomp mask and bag of holding glinted at him from the depths.
Well, that's right.
As he threw all of his stuff underwater, reflecting the pre-dawn sunlight. As the sun crested over the horizon.
Then he had to find his way back to Sunspire.
Thinking quickly, I'm pretty sure he dug a hole.
I think he did dig a hole.
Thinking quickly, he dug a hole in the soft earth as fast as possible.
Does he not have anything about this in his journal?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have anything about the nightmares.
Wow, I can't believe that. He doesn't write anything that's bad for him.
Yeah. The way
I remember the acid thing, and I texted him about it.
This way he spells Rio, I like. He spells it like Ryu.
Ryu, like with an O.
With an O. I like that a lot. He dug a hole in the soft earth and
hiding like a bitch.
And buried himself. Not needing to breathe. Yes, that's how he spelled
Rio.
it.
But it is just Rio.
It is spelled like Rio, like the river. Rio Grande and all that good stuff.
Do you own up to my mistakes? Absolutely not.
Never.
I make no mistakes.
Perfect in every way.
Let's actually not say
worry.
that before this section.
Don't worry.
I make many mistakes.
Don't worry. So...
This is not my proudest moment.
Yeah, buried himself,
I don't make as many mistakes as Tom.
Not needing
Tom was
to
a
breathe.
fuck up.
In his undead state. There he waited underground, I believe.
I'm pretty sure he did. No, I don't know if that's what happened. I'm gonna have to ask him. I don't remember.
Because I'm trying to remember...
how he would have gotten his shit.
Because he was 8 miles away from Sunspire. So I'm wondering if he just, like, started sprinting, or if he dug a hole.
I don't remember. He would have had to have gotten his stuff, though. He wouldn't have left his mask.
Yeah.
This is the process of writing this, by the way. Both of us just go back and forth trying to remember what happened to other people who were not NPCs or me.
Yeah, because it's hard for me to remember, like, the choices people make in detail.
Oh, I don't remember what he did. I remember him running at some point, but I don't remember how he got his shit back.
Right.
That's the thing.
Wait, maybe he had his bag of holding on him. I remember he thought about digging a hole.
That's so true, Galaxy. Don't be the one you're wondering, how'd you make it this far in the killing game and keep hoping he'd getting offed in Clash Trial? He would be. Probably. He would probably be the first to kill someone.
I remember the reason why this is confusing me is he spitballed a lot of good ideas.
He did. He had many. I do remember that too. Because he was first, and I think you, like, let him sit there and think about it while you did someone else.
I think I did let him sit there and think about it while I did someone else, because he was put into a pretty bad spot.
A pretty bad spot. Like, he was gonna die.
Yeah, so he immediately had to... He talked about, like, tying a rope to the magnet and throwing that at the mask.
Oh, right, we did have the magnet. Is that what he did?
That might be what he did.
But then how would he get the bag of holding back?
He might have had the bag of holding on him, is the thing.
That could be.
It might be they didn't.
I feel like the magnet sounds familiar.
He did. I remember think about digging a hole, but I think he didn't have a shovel. Maybe.
Do you want me to text?
Sure, you can text.
I'm gonna message him on Discord.
Yeah.
I'm gonna message him. Be like, hey, do you remember?
Yeah. After.
Let's see if he's online.
Like, how did you get out of that spot?
I messaged him recently because I messaged him about the other thing. Let me see, where is he?
Every classmate is precious and worth protecting.
Oh, he's not online.
Some of them are questionable for sure.
Question.
But we will move on to somebody else. We will finish up
I need to...
later. Because, once he becomes
How
back
did
online.
Tom get his stuff back and
not die
after
waking up from his nightmare
Yufa nightmare
while on the river bank as the sun came up.
On the river bank. Do you remember? Because neither of us do.
It's not on the notes.
Alright, now we'll see if he gets back to me. I will highlight this, and because all the rest of this is fine, but this part is the part we don't know about, so I will just highlight this in yellow, and then I haven't played V3 yet. Don't say anything.
Great.
I will start it soon.
Perfect. So, next up...
We can, you can do me if you want, but I'm pretty sure, well, Mumford may have been last because of the,
yeah,
the boat.
Mumford was fun to do. So we
you
can
can
do
choose.
next.
You want to do me next? Alright. Alrighty, ready for my colossal fuck up? Here we go. This was possibly my worst moment of the campaign.
Next, we saw Soleil lost in a vision of Sunspire in flames. A Sunspire engulfed in flames. Soleil is wrapped in steel chains, held by two Sunspirian enforcers on each arm. Enforcers were pulling people out of their burning homes and executing them in the streets.
That was wild and fun.
Yes.
Were they buff and shirtless at least? Probably not.
In her nightmare, perhaps.
Honestly, maybe. That would be a nightmare.
All of them are Tom.
That's honestly probably what it was.
Soleil saw her sister Solange's home. How do you want to phrase like super on fire?
Super on fire.
I already said engulfed in flame. Ablaze.
Yeah, sure.
With her sister, her brother-in-law, and her niece and nephew, and her very young niece and nephew, face down in the street in puddles of their own blood. Actually, I guess it was just the husband.
It wasn't. It was the niece and nephew though.
Yes.
I don't think it was Solange.
No, Solange wasn't there. I have what
Solange
was doing.
Oh, don't worry. She'll be there.
Yes. Solange's muffled screams are heard through the barred door to her home. Through a window, Soleil spots her sister gagged and bound to a chair,
I don't even remember this part.
surrounded by barrels of black powder and alcohol. Within an infernal flame. Yes.
I wish it was that cool.
The devils have invaded. Yes.
I wish that was what happened.
Big nightmare energy. A voice whispers, "You should be proud," from behind her.
Okay.
Soleil turns.
Yeah, wait, I fucked that. Okay. That's not him.
Yeah. Soleil turns to see the world has gone dark, and the skeletal form of the enormous Ravener stood behind her. She only showed herself to you.
That's why I felt so personally attacked, I think. I think it was right then.
Because you killed Koryak, she chose to be incredibly petty.
And that extends through the entire campaign.
Extends through the entire campaign.
We are both incredibly petty to each other. Wait.
So yeah, the skeletal form of the enormous Ravener, her green eyes glowing with malice.
This bitch.
This is a quote, ridding yourself of weakness is the first step towards greatness.
Hang on, wait. Sorry, say it one more time?
Ridding yourself of weakness. Sorry. Ridding yourself
No, don't!
of weakness is the first step towards greatness.
This fucking bitch.
The pettiness screws her in equal parts as it was able to be abused for their benefit. They always knew that she would take the worst possible path to screw
To
Soleil.
screw me.
So
Curse.
they were able to use that to their advantage when strategizing. Then Soleil looks down and sees herself dressed as an enforcer with a bloody knife in one hand, Molotov lit in the other. I guess lit Molotov in the other.
Wait, sorry.
Dressed as an enforcer. Which she described as, this is something I never want to happen, is join the police. Bloody knife in one hand. Lit Molotov in another. Great. Gargantuan Ravener, emerald eyes
That's
glinting
cool.
with malice. Sure. That does sound rather fun.
And then I can change that.
Green eyes,
I like it.
glittering. Glinting. Alright.
Okay, cool. Go.
Sweet.
And then I failed.
And then, do it, set yourself free. I don't know if you failed.
I think I did.
So here's the two descriptors I have.
Okay.
If you fail, you open your eyes, seeing yourself throwing the Molotov towards barrels of black powder and alcohol.
But I still throw it.
The entire house explodes, and you take fire damage and could die. The succeed is you wake up.
No,
dressed
it
in
was
your
that.
garb,
I was in the
and you're
basement.
in a burning.
I was
building.
in the building.
Yeah, as the fire's burning down.
It was. I definitely failed.
No, that was a success.
That was a success.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's a success. You didn't blow. Like you looked around, there was explosives in the room with you. You
Oh.
didn't throw them.
Then I guess I did succeed.
I think you
well, that
did
was a
succeed.
charisma
It was a
save. wasn't it?
charisma
Oh
save.
yeah, then I would have made that.
Yeah. The first one was a wisdom save to have.
My
the
biggest
nightmare.
failure was thinking that I failed.
Yes. Everyone failed the initial saving throw against having the nightmare, but in terms of
We all had
preventing-
one.
Yes, in order to prevent yourself from going through.
I think
the
actually
final
most
action,
of us.
I think it was about half and half. I think it was a.
Okay, if that's a success, then I succeeded.
Yes, Denise failed for sure.
Yes.
Maria Mumford failed.
Mumford failed. I think Maria also failed.
Maria also failed.
Marcus didn't have one because he wasn't there when we opened the box.
Yes.
So
So I think it was about half and half.
it probably I was. That does make it about half and half.
So Soleil, Soleil shakes herself free of the monster's influence, jolting awake in the basement of a burning building. She is surrounded by barrels of accelerants and black powder, with a lit Molotov in her hand. Fire crept down the staircase towards the barrels, blocking off her only exit. Without hesitation,
I'm glad you remember what I did.
Soleil dove through the flames
Because I don't remember.
and raced through the burning building, making it safely out onto the street. Before the explosion behind her shook the city block. Onlookers screamed and gasped, pointing at the flames as Soleil made her quiet escape from her unintentional arson.
That was a bad day.
It
That
was
was
a
a
bad
bad day.
It's the worst when you're framed for a crime when you actually do the crime.
When I do crime. But I got framed for a crime I didn't do.
Well, you got framed for a crime you did do, which was even worse.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, no, I have an alibi. Your alibi is
I was doing the crime.
You don't remember being in a burning building? Must have been that exciting though. It was mostly that I think she was blocking out the trauma. As the table was almost entirely silent. This was I had some like kind of ominous music going a little bit, but I kept it real low. Everyone was just devastated.
It ranged from devastated to angry.
Yeah, people were fully mad.
And this was like the first session that was a big session in a long time.
It was also the first session of D&D for several people. This was, I think, Aaron wasn't playing Mumford then.
No, it was Jesse.
Jesse was playing Mumford. But yeah, there were several friends that we had. It was their first time playing D&D in a while, so they were. So were there other stories going on?
No.
No. This was fully everyone's having this nightmare right now.
Yeah, this was what was happening.
Here's what was happening. Everyone was just listening to each other's.
To each other's.
Horror.
Going like, we're done. Oh, wait, hold on, I got a message.
Got nat 20 on the save. Yeah, he did, didn't he? Okay. He
then ran back to town.
Okay. Maybe he had the umbrella with him.
Maybe you gave it, maybe you let him have it because he got the nat 20 on the save.
Yeah.
It might have, you know what? I think that is what happened.
Yeah.
He had thrown it and he woke up in time to catch it.
Oh, yes, that's what it was.
That is what happened.
So we can go back to Tom's. Yeah, that's perfect. Woke up in time to see, like, the mask sunk, but the bag was sinking.
Oh god, are we being rated?
Oh, hey.
Westford? Hi.
What's up?
I'll pass your message. I don't have a message for you to pass, I'm sorry.
The message is our entire D&D campaign.
Yeah, the entire campaign. You're gonna be so lost, but it's fine, don't worry about it. Okay, wait, let me delete all of this highlighted shit.
Sweet.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
So the mask.
Yeah, so that's not.
Depths, you can just get rid of the. Well, that's fine. Just get rid of and bag of holding.
Well, I mean, he didn't throw it.
He did throw it. It was just going down into the water. He like threw it and woke up, and he was able to. grab it
and not take that much damage.
He did take some damage, but he didn't die.
Okay.
This
is why we need help from our friends.
Yes. He saw his bag of holding floating on the top of the river, just beginning to sink. With a grimace and a heave, he pulled it from the water with only minor burns and managed to use a magical umbrella to escape back to Sunspire. Use a magical umbrella to protect himself from the sun's deadly rays. As he, on his 10-mile walk of shame back to Sunspire.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay, so mine's done.
Yours is done.
My walk of shame was dotted with murder that I committed, but it's fine.
Yes.
We had, I don't remember. I do think Mumford was last.
Yes. I think next was Twitch.
Drugs.
We can kind of put together a couple of the other characters. Twitch was plagued with visions of his monastery burning, and his family, and his found family murdered or transformed into vampires. He, I believe, failed.
I think he did fail.
When he awoke, he found that he had consumed several doses of an incredibly powerful drug that left him feeling terrible for several days, but thankfully did not kill him. He took several doses of a drug in D&D that's called strange fluids. It's a mixture of motor oil and wild magic, where it has the possibility to do anything from give you wings forever, which is the best result, to instantly kill you in numerous ways. Turn you to stone, disintegrate you, cause you to combust, etc., etc. Thank you very much. Hey, I mean, we're just gonna go through stories. I think the most important part of D&D or DMing is practice and putting yourself out there and being willing to steal everything. If your players are not aware of a source of media like a book or an anime or a comic, anything that you know that they haven't read, which you can ask in casual conversation, feel free to take the entire thing and repurpose it for your own, use. I do that very regularly.
We did it in this campaign, and we all had no idea.
I used a mixture
until
of
recently.
Fullmetal Alchemist, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, several Star Wars books from the extended universe. There's a ton of stuff that I was pulling from, and you mash it together and see what works and what the players like doing. And a lot of this was I went with what they liked. There are hundreds of storylines they just toss out there. Like you mentioned the Spores of Erasmus thing. That was something I tossed out there and everyone's like, cool, we're done with that. I'm like, cool, I'm done with that. Don't need to develop that anymore, Storylines just disappear when people don't care about them, and that's fine. It's also don't fall in love with your own story. I feel like is a great piece of advice that I would need early on.
70% plagiarism or more
easily
than that?
70% plagiarism. I'd say 70% plagiarism, 20% improv, and 10% actual work. Most of that actual work I do in the shower, and a lot of it's in the form of, man, wouldn't it be cool if this existed? I'm the DM, it does exist, and that's it. I just have to write it down when I get out of the shower. One of the main villains for the next campaign is a combination between Superman and several characters from Star Wars. It doesn't have to be creative, it just has to be a mixture of silly and fun. And you can take that and make a serious moment like this. This giant skeletal dragon is just a skeletal dragon. There's not a whole lot of creativity that
she's
goes
a
in there.
bitch.
And the best parts of her character definitely came from Jessica and her friends. Sorry about that. Jessica came from Jessica and her friends doing various oh man, she just this move seems incredibly petty. And incredibly petty became her main character trait. That is now her entire character, because it's what they think of her, and I thought that was awesome.
God, she was awful.
She was one of my favorite villains I've ever run. Super good. Just the amount of hatred I could spawn by her doing anything was so good.
From me, specifically.
From you, from Sawyer, from Joe. Joe hated her. It was so good. I loved it.
I took it personally. I took everything she did personally.
And it was all personal.
It was all personal.
It was all personal.
Especially to me.
Of course. Because if they decide it's personal, just because you as the DM are thinking, oh, this guy wasn't actually being personal when he did this to a player, well, they think that's what happened, so why isn't it? You're making the rules, you're telling a story with them, you can change things behind the scenes that they're not aware of, or even things that they are aware of but have forgotten, and so long as it makes the story more fun for everyone, it doesn't matter. I've changed the names and, order of events of so many things because it just makes more sense and it's more fun for everybody. And no one cares. At the end of the day, you're having fun, and that's what matters. So yeah, just take it easy for DMing. That's biggest end of story. Don't take it too seriously. Have a great time. Next thing.
I did Twitch.
Twitch didn't die of his disease. Denise seduced a guy.
Denise seduced a man.
Yeah.
That's right.
Denise awoke to find that she had seduced a dwarf and accidentally killed him with her white vampiric magic.
That was wild.
She afterwards left the party in despair, seeking to go on a personal mission involving soul searching and redemption. Maria's nightmare included all of her friends abandoning her, down to Horace Wraith disowning her. As the party...
Okay.
As the party lets her fall by the wayside, she turns to her alchemical research, crafting a dark and mysterious potion that would save the world and bring her friends back to her. Holding the final potion, or holding the completed potion, she places it in an ornate ritual circle. Watching as the potion is teleported away to places unknown.
Is that a new sentence?
Or
no?
No, that's sentence.
Okay.
A voice speaks in her head. Insisting that no one can know about this. As she raises her hand to conjure a firebolt that will ignite the various alchemical components, she comes to her senses before blowing up the building.
One of us was not lucky.
Came to her senses before blowing up the building. Upon awakening, she found that she was in the basement of the Huckleberry Inn.
Thank God she didn't set the building on fire.
She did not blow up the building, thankfully. This is actually a fun thing. So, I thought that there would be a sort of sideline if she was going to stay with the party. She ended up not staying with the party, but that she was going to be a daughter of one of Asha's sisters.
Oh, dope.
So to be distantly related to Olivia.
Oh, that's cool.
Whole little storyline of like Ariana Vexel-Todd, third daughter that is going to be tempted by Aoife to try to turn her into a Dracolich.
Oh, that's dope.
Ended up leaving the party because the party chooses who they party with, and you know that sort of fell by the wayside. Not actually canon, but I sort of wrote out a little storyline for her. So that is what ends up with her. The potion was later discovered.
Yes. So am I writing this now?
Yes. Was later discovered to be an attempt to cure a powerful magical disease that the party was not aware of. Sweet. So that is all those, and then there's Mumford, I believe is the last one.
Yeah, I think that's the last one.
Mumford opens his eyes to see the vision of an underground courtroom as he kneels before his council of elders. The council definitely need to read this and better understand what's going on. If you want someone to edit and make everything sound cool, I'd be happy to do it when you're done
But
writing.
only Phoenix's help. He would.
Definitely would have been good to have Phoenix's help. This is definitely one of the cases where did not have a good defense attorney. Council...
once we finish it, I will definitely post it. But yeah, that's kind of why I'm writing and he's talking, because I like writing things down better and he likes talking, so it kind of works out.
The council speaks.
I'm writing everything in past tense, just so you know.
Okay.
But it's okay.
The council has returned with their decision, and he is to be put to death. Deacon Mumford, stand and attend your duty.
Hang on, I'm gonna need you to say all that again, because I was processing how I was gonna do this, and I decided.
Sure.
Continue.
The council has returned with their decision. He is to be put to death. Deacon Mumford, stand and attend your duty. Mumford blinks, and he is no longer the one on trial, but rather the executioner. He looks down on a lizard folk child, chained and bruised. You walk towards the child, warhammer in hand, as tears form in the child's eyes.
I forgot how dark his was, too.
Yes.
His is fucked.
Help us, please. The child cries.
This music is very fitting. I can't hear it. I don't know what it is.
Yes, help him, servant of justice. A voice creaks from the darkness. Rid him of his pain.
Hang on. Okay.
Veins of darkness crawl up the child's skin, consuming his body. Mumford feels the pounding of war drums within his chest, the drumbeat of Damacor casting judgment.
Now it's not as fitting. Okay, sorry. Oh, wait. Alright.
You raise your warhammer, or he raises his warhammer, and swung it down, destroying the corrupted body. Another lizard folk ran up and grabbed his arm, begging for him to stop. This one had not been infected yet. However, magic flares up around it, and you see the dark spider of contagion on his shoulder. Contagious. On his shoulder. I guess, period. Contagious, but not affected. Dangerous. The raspy voice whispers again. Your duty awaits. Deliver justice. Mercy is but another chain that binds. Mumford snaps to his senses, before swinging his warhammer onto a fellow dwarf, screaming at him to stop.
The other dwarf one?
Yes. The both of them were in a fishing boat on Sunspire Lake, slowly sinking into the waters as a gaping hole was bashed in the hull.
That was a bad time.
Mumford and his new friend, Marcus Flint.
Oh, Marcus.
Had to swim to shore. Marcus's fishing boat destroyed and sunk. So that makes me think that you had already gone back.
This is what I was about to say. And I think for that we need to refer to the journals.
He doesn't.
He doesn't? Oh, man.
Yeah, but
we had to have. If that was Mumford's, we had to have.
It was on your way back to get the treasure.
I think so too.
But it was before you got the box.
Well, let's do that and then check his journals to make sure we didn't miss anything, and then call it for today.
For sure. I mean, we've got the Black Dragon.
Oh God, what is that?
I
I don't even know what that is. Is that Koriak's dad? Mom? It's definitely
yes.
I don't care about that. That doesn't matter.
So that's another storyline that nobody cares about.
Dear God.
Moving on. Let's see.
We had enough to worry about by that point.
Looking back on notes, it's funny because I've forgotten about these storylines. Like, I throw out hooks like seeds to birds, you know? Only one of
Dad
them.
or mom. I don't know.
Amirasalak.
That sounds familiar. That does sound familiar now that you say it.
Probably a name I made up on the spot. When questioned, like, what's the dragon's name? Amirasalak.
That's a name.
Written down. I don't even have that in my notes. I'm 100% sure. I didn't even write down Koriak. And that was the one you killed. So.
Twice. Thank you very much.
Later, yes, twice.
No, twice this time.
Oh, okay, so 3 times. Yeah.
Sounds like a laxative. Kinda does.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Draconic in my world is a lot of K's and R's. And Z's. I like Z's a lot. So in that case,
we didn't miss anything?
We didn't miss anything, but
okay,
we did
but we
miss
it had to have been
the lizard folk city.
Oh no, not that part. It had to have been
when you recruited your clerics and went
first party stopped by Carrie. Okay, well it had to have been before this then.
Yes.
Okay, so then
the party ventured to Koriak's lair.
Wait.
Yeah, so page break. So instead of returned.
Oh, okay, I see.
To Koriak's lair, to claim to retrieve their unclaimed loot.
You weren't just gonna let a whole dragon horde not.
Yeah. Fully page break. We'll fix this later. And then just go from the unclaimed loot paragraph.
I'll fix that afterwards.
Along the way, they passed by the lizard folk town again. Only this time, the mood had turned quite dour. Several dozen of the lizard folk appeared infected with a strange disease.
Oh, so we did know about it by that point.
Yeah, so we can go back
to
the
we'll go back to
too.
that.
Those more affected, what would the term be of like more far along, Those worse off had their bodies in a state of rapid decay, while those in their early stages saw black tendrils of darkness reaching out from their chests. Those that died of this disease appeared to decompose almost immediately. However, it did not. After interrogating the lizard folk clerics, it did not appear to be contagious by ordinary means. It appeared to, from their perspective, it appeared to target those that were already sick. After the clerics investigated, after Mumford, I guess.
Yeah, we only have one cleric at that point.
After Mumford investigated with a detect magic spell, he saw that the disease was magical in nature, transferring between patients whenever someone nearby casted magic or casted a spell. Mumford saw with his spell up that he himself had been infected with his casting, or had been infected, and managed to dispel a spider, or a spider-like. Was infected with a spider-like amoeba of darkness.
Okay.
He managed to dispel this disease. Very similar to symbiote, yes, that is the way I described it. As, you know, it was going around in his body, kind of like a weird slug-like slime.
It was gross.
That only he could see. Managed to dispel the disease before it infected anyone else. However, he was struck with a realization that those who were magically gifted were entirely unaffected by the disease.
Did we know that then?
And he figured it out right then. It wasn't a, you're sure that this is what's happening, but it was something of, the clerics all said that they were completely fine.
Yeah.
And he knows that it wasn't trying to hurt him, it was just piggybacking off of him. So you did come to that little realization, I believe. We're unaffected by the disease, while the mundane were rapidly killed by it. All part of evil Dragon Hitler's plan to make everybody magical.
I would also just like to state that all of this was before COVID.
Yes, all of this was far before COVID started.
Far before COVID.
I had the idea of magical Dragon Hitler very early on. That is the initial character concept for Eve, actually. It wasn't an entirely blank slate. It was evil magical disease Hitler, where she thought that it wasn't like dragons are the master race, it was magical creatures are the only ones that deserve to live. So she's gonna make a contagion that's gonna kill only mundane people. And then COVID hit when we were getting right into the swing of
the disease.
Of the disease and the main sort of meat of that.
It was
campaign.
not great.
It was bad because they were fully like, all right, everyone needs to quarantine. Ugh.
Yeah.
Just, oh my god.
We definitely So what you're saying is you liked the idea so much that it became real.
Yes, that it very much is what happened, where she sort of like released the disease as COVID was starting, and it was like, oh no.
And I think we all got the quarantine plot line where we all had to actually quarantine in character was while we were quarantining. So it was like, this is fine.
This is fine. I felt like I felt bad. I felt
it was
legitimately
hilarious.
bad. I'm really glad everyone else was so happy and on board with it, because I was like, ooh, if I made this, this is in bad taste. Like, it felt bad for me, but everyone else was like, no, you fully wrote this before. This is funny. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, come on.
All right, I don't remember how he got the communication of what happened or what we needed to do to the town. Do you remember?
You guys decided that since the disease was incurable, you just burn the town down.
Well, I think wasn't Mumford very opposed to that?
Yes,
and
he
God
was.
had to tell him to do it.
Yes.
I think Tom and I were like, yeah, we're burning this town to the ground.
So I guess page break. Unfortunately, it appeared that the disease had no cure that they could find, or had no immediately apparent cure, and resisted curative magic. Tom and Soleil advocated to razing the entire town to the ground and killing all of its inhabitants.
Look, that makes us sound like assholes. But
Mumford vehemently opposed the idea. Mumford and Denise. He was backed by Denise at this point. Once you finish that. Of the idea of genocide.
I'm glad it's not real, and that's all I'll say on that. What?
What? This was very much contain, secure, protect, burn the town down.
Listen.
Very much.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
That. There is a horror detected. Burn everything. Yes. They opposed the idea of genocide. And Mumford
genocide is such a big word.
And Mumford stepped away to consult with Damacor, the god of earth and law. The god of earth and law.
We're almost done, probably.
See you later.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
The god of earth and law. Okay.
After a divination spell, Damacor was reluctant to inform him that sometimes small sacrifices needed to be made in order to protect the safety of the world. Once we finish this paragraph, probably going to be done. Protect the safety of the world. Because his god had cleared the genocide.
Why you gotta say it like that?
Had cleared the massacre. Mumford reluctantly watched in silence as Sunspire mages leveled the town with ruthless efficiency.
Did we do this on the way back?
No, you actually, I think, fully called them and waited. Like, you fully got there and just were like, hold everything.
No, I mean, did we go get the loot beforehand? Or were we just assholes and we're like, alright, we're burning this whole village to the ground, let's go get the loot?
I think that's what happened.
Wow, we are dicks. Whatever.
You might have done it, like, gone and gotten the loot while you were waiting for them.
Whatever.
But
that doesn't matter.
I feel like everyone put a pause on everything. And then, the party then made their way to Koryak's lair, with some with heavy hearts and some with a skip in their step.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Maybe Tom.
Some with heavy hearts. Sure, I could just be like, with heavy hearts. Yeah, that works. After some expertly crafted shape water spells, the party made off with a hefty chunk of loot. Perfect.
Yeah, okay, there,
Looks
perfect.
good.
It looks good. Beautiful. 8 pages so far.
Oh yeah.
Alright, this was fun. Let me see. What is going on? Opinions of Soleil are hers alone. Don't necessarily represent the opinions.
Of course. We all know these things.
I don't know. Soleil gradually became more and more similar to me as the campaign went on, but I will say that she was very different starting off.
Starting off, yes, for sure.
I think getting a boyfriend really changed her, honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
He was a good influence, despite being an asshole.
He was such an asshole.
He is still neutral good, despite
Okay,
being
listen,
an asshole.
I need to know. We gotta look through those journals and find when Tom got mad at me for stealing.
I have no idea.
He
Because he
definitely wrote it
leaves.
in here.
I don't know, because he leaves after this page.
What?
I don't know if he wrote down getting mad at you.
I thought he would have, because this is when we left. I definitely thought he did. Well, the bar's still making money here. God, when was it? I definitely thought he did write it, but I could be wrong.
There it is.
There it is.
Oh, it was with the
Soleil
mask.
stole liquor from my inn. Oh, it was a long time ago.
So we
It was
need the
after
mask.
the hitman.
Okay, so we might have to put killing the mask after the hitman part, because that's what
Okay,
happened.
yeah.
That's
We'll
also
do that later.
That happened. Okay.
Here, let me make a note on the bottom. Are you still talking about D&D, or are we talking about real life with the boyfriend changing her thing? I don't know. Draw your own conclusions.
Definitely D&D. Real life, no comment.
Okay, wait, what did I just say?
Make a note to say, put Psychopomp mask after the McDonald's part, along with Tom getting masked.
Along with Cedric's fuckery discovered.
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure at that point I was ready to kill him. Which would have dramatically changed the course of the campaign if I had gone through with my attempt to assassinate the man who wronged me plan, which was great. Okay, this was fun. I'm deciding what's gonna happen with streams. Probably gonna do Tuesday evenings, so those will be viewer's choice, so the poll will be up on Monday. We're gonna see if that's gonna be feasible this upcoming week because we're still studying, blah blah blah. Keep an eye on my Twitter, I'll let you know. That's really all I have to say, so thank you for coming. This was super fun. We'll probably do it again because we really want to finish this, but we have absolutely zero time. So any time to work on it is great. When is the last Dragon Quest going on YouTube? It should already be there. I'm pretty sure it should have gone up like last week, probably. So check, and if it's not, put it in the Discord and I'll find it. I'm pretty sure it's there. And yeah, thank you guys for coming. See you on Tuesday. Tuesday at 5:30 will probably be the time, but if people want it to be earlier, then I can see what I can do about making it earlier, but we can't go too much earlier, so we're gonna have to play it by ear. Okay. Yeah, let me know, Claxy, if you can't find it, and I'll see what I can do about it. Cool. See you guys next week. Bye.
Take care.